All right, so one of the key things to analyze when you're internally analyzing an organization is to take a look at its product offerings. And those product offerings could be goods, services, experiences, and all the other sorts of things that fall under the general heading of products. And I have this quote from me, and this is something I think is really important. Eventually, all organizations are judged by the quality of their outputs, that is, their products. Now, the universities, one of our products, of course, are graduates. And so we are judged by the quality of our graduates, that is, you. Okay, and so, but all organizations are eventually judged this way. And so, when I ask you what kind of how good of an organization is Apple, well, that depends on your view of Apple's products. And of course, they have lots of products with Apple, right? They have iPads, they have Macs, they have phones, they have cloud storage. They have lots of different things that Apple now sells, and so their organization is judged by the quality of their products. That's why, for instance, Samsung recently had a hit to their organizational value because, as you recall, they were having a problem with batteries, and they had a number of products, and I think they might have been their tablets and their phones occasionally catching fire, which of course is a problem. So think about this, and this is why the analysis of the offerings is so important. Some of the things that we'd like to know about offerings, we'd like to know the historical and current products and services, that is, goods, services, and experiences that they are offering. So we really want to know what is their full menu of products that they offer, and how has that changed over time. So we were just working with a client that was interested in a couple of new um, sort of extensions of their brand and products that were related, but they thought were being added at the top end of their product line and at the bottom end of their product line in an attempt to attract more customers. So it's important for us to understand what are the current products, what are the goods, what are the services, what are the experiences that the organization is offering, and how has that changed over time? Because that gives you a little bit of an understanding of the trajectory of the organization and where it sees itself heading. Um, we have lots of examples of this. One example of this is um, the Chrysler Corporation and its automobile mix. It has, so they're in the automobile business. At one point in time, they had merged with Mercedes-Benz, and so as a result, much of their product line concepts now in their automobile business were generated when they were part of the Mercedes-Benz organization, Daimler. And so their products tend to be rear-wheel drive vehicles. They all have a logical position in the line, but they're all, like most of the Mercedes, have a performance element to them, and a safety element to them, and a design element to them. So we want to see what the current products and services are so that we can see whether or not we are comparable to the competition, ahead of the competition, or behind the competition. Secondly, we'd like to know about the current prices and our current costs. Of course, prices and costs are not the same thing, but we really want to understand what is our current price structure, and do we have the right prices for the right products, and because the prices eventually determine profitability, and it also determines, of course, demand. So we're interested in the current prices and to see how they match up with the competition, and to see how they determine our demand and our margins. We'd also like to know about the current product distribution. That is, how are we distributing our products? And so is our, so think about Amazon for a second, and think about how Amazon has evolved in terms of their delivery of their products. It used to be that you could get Amazon products relatively quickly, but they were typically sent FedEx, UPS, or mail. Now, of course, Amazon delivers their own products. And here in town, it's very, very convenient to be able to get a product the day after you order it from Amazon. But other organizations have other distribution um, issues and ideas. I recently got ready to buy a new modem because I'm moving, of course, as all of us are here in Las Vegas. Eventually, I'm moving to a Gigablast, so I needed a different modem. I went down to Best Buy to buy that modem because I, just thought I would buy it at Best Buy. I could run down and get it and bring it home. I got there, and of course, they didn't have the product available. They have it, but they can ship it to me in 3 or 4 days. I said. So I went home and I looked at Amazon, and Amazon had a back order on it, and so they wouldn't have it to me for 3 days. So what was my next choice? Well, my next choice was I decided to go to Walmart. And of course, I went to walmart.com, and of course, they were able to deliver it to my house the very next day. And so, how you distribute products may be an element to your success. And so, we want to understand how organizations distribute their products. That also includes locations and all those other sorts of things, physical stores, online presence, those sorts of things. And then the other thing about our product offerings that I think is crucial is from those product offerings, we need to be able to identify what is our competitive advantage. What is the organization's competitive advantage? What is the reason to buy? What's the big idea? What is what we used to refer to as the USP, the unique selling proposition for the product? And that, of course, then leads to the historical and current position that our brand holds in the marketplace. So here are a couple of things to ponder when you think about and you analyze the organization's product offerings and, of course, as a result, sort of what their product strategy is. An example of this, of course, is Ford and Chevrolet. Ford announced about 6 months ago that they were basically getting out of the sedan business. That is, that they were going to focus on SUVs and pickup trucks for their consumer market, and we're going to get out of the small sedans, the Ford Fusions and those sorts of cars, and be truly focused on what is the profitable part of their business. Ford has had difficulty selling automobiles, with the exception of the Ford Mustang and and at one point in time, the Ford Crown Victoria. And so as a result, they have decided, rather than fight, that they are eventually going to phase out their sedan part of their business and focus more and more on the pickup truck and SUV part of their business. Now, Chevrolet went in a slightly different direction. Chevrolet said that they were going to thin down their sedan business also, but Chevrolet's big new push is that they are going EV, and that is that Chevrolet hopes to have, I don't remember exactly what the number was, but by 2030 or 2032 or something, they're going to try to have at least 50% of their product offerings be EVs, that is electric vehicles. And so that's an interesting decision for Chevrolet to have made, both of them making decisions about new product strategies and what their products are going to look like in the future. This goes back to the whole concept of you are what you produce. The customers evaluate your organization based on the products, and you can't sell bad products and get away with it for very long. And you're only really as good as your last success story. Think about organizations like Intel. Intel has always been considered to be the chip leader in microchips for computers and other uses. They have recently been overtaken by a number of other chip manufacturers, and that's because they've been struggling to create their most recent success story. And then as a result, Intel has gone from being the leader in that industry to being third or fourth or fifth in that industry in a matter of only a few months due to the fact that other chip manufacturers have had major success stories and they have not. And then last, I want to talk a little bit about the value of a flagship brands and flagship models. Of course, the idea of a flagship brand is it is this notion of a brand that you promote that is your best product in the line. And so for someone like Cadillac, the Cadillac Escalade saved Cadillac at one point in time because it became the SUV of the rich and famous. That's probably not that anymore. Probably that's the Range Rover is probably that model of SUV now, or perhaps it's the Porsche, or perhaps it's the uh, Mercedes, or perhaps it's the Rolls Royce, or perhaps it's the Bentley, or perhaps it's the Maserati or the Jaguar SUV. But the thing is that it is important to have flagship brands that you can brag about, and that helps customers view your products in your line as higher quality because of the flagship models that you have available. So a couple of final thoughts. I think let's go back to the information that we typically have in an internal analysis report. It goes back to previous successes and failures, and if those previous successes and failures are in the product line area, then then it's important to understand what drove those successes and what drove those failures. Remember that the end goal for the internal analysis is to understand the current situation facing the organization.